Hey guys, it's MJ. How are you? It's May 2018. I felt inspired to go live. I'm having a little mini break from my weekly trip back and forth to Brighton from Devon in the UK because as community, because is expanding, and actually I'm feeling a huge shift in energy recently, and a huge part to do with the UK and the fact that it's sunny and it's warm and it's been a glorious spring weekend, and that's been long overdue, certainly with kind of snowstorms and deep transformational energy over the winter period. And sometimes I say like the last 6 months, and then I'm just like, just life in general, let's say, is kind of intense and challenging and wild and amazing. And here we are in May. We're approaching mid-year 2018. Where has the time gone? And in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously, we're heading into the kind of proper spring, summer season. There have been some amazing transitions, astrologically speaking. You guys know I'm not an astrologer at all. I just tune into that kind of stuff for energetic clarity as far as my own personal sign and what I've gone through just over my lifetime. That's been a little bit of a piece, and increasingly so, working with an astrologer and wanting to maybe even learn more about it at some time. Who knows? Higher learning, all of that. So for the collective energy in May, what's been coming through is a real shift in awareness, like this sudden recognition that people are really ready to take a leap, or people are really ready to endeavor a healing journey. And ultimately it's like this honoring the leveling up and accepting and sort of dropping into the totality of who we are. And this really brings with it so much purging or owning and emotional healing, and at the same time collective breakthroughs, massive waves of healing that bring with it a current kind of surge of divine love, core wound healing, and enough kind of connectedness, as it were, to really start to anchor the energy. The anchoring of the energy has been really happening this year, this whole year, and probably really started to build momentum around March. But it was like the new frequency, the new energy was just anchoring in. And so now we're sort of steadily into this climb, as it were, and we're starting to be bombarded with a lot of useful, positive flow energy that's helping us relax a little bit more, and at the same time have more self-awareness that helps us be more present, increasing our focus, and ultimately pulling in more of our desires for the higher purpose as well. So those of us deepening our embodiment of new frequency energies and sort of lifting the lid on the next phase of learning so that we can step up, our own personal growth and development and keep shining and keep growing. And really, I keep hearing, keep yoking that connection, keep yoking that connection to your divine spark, to your love, to your sense of freedom, and to your sense of joy, really peaceful, grounded joy, and at the same time integrity with the whole, without being in denial of the suffering of the world or, the connection to other people, and really living from that heart space of unity. And so, so for some of us, there'll be this real deepening of healing karma and healing patterns and healing core wounds and coming together in a greater kind of practicality, because this idea of it anchoring means that there's this sudden shift, that it's like it's becoming practical, it's becoming more grounded to be spiritually connected, to be more loving, to be slow down, you know, to meditate, you know, there's this sort of profound recognition. It's like the tipping point, proper tipping point, profound recognition, enough minds and hearts kind of connected to be like, yeah, this is definitely, you know, where we're having to work from, where we're having to move into. And you know, part of that journey is ultimately leaning into our emotional pain, leaning in and owning and healing, and being willing to self-reflect, being willing to take responsibility, and then be vulnerable within ourselves and in our relationships. Open up ultimately, and at the same time steer into your own intuitive knowing, and always that sense of, again, self-responsibility. So your energy is your responsibility, and how you relate to others is ultimately a real reflection of how you're relating to yourself ultimately. And so the more you can yoke a loving connection with self, the more ultimately you can be a loving presence for for yourself in other form. And that's so profound, to really keep into that connection of our unity, of you know, the one heart, the one mind. That's ultimately what Christ consciousness is. We choose that divine spark, that oneness, unity within our own self, and then we radiate that. We become that positive presence for others to step into their light if they choose. And that's ultimately why staying in our own integrity is super important as we transition, because it's really sort of unlayered or unwrapped, or there's a real kind of, yeah, there's a lot of layers, I would say, to work through, to slot in, to really get into that sense of connectivity. And so that's I would say this energy is really about that tunnel vision, that deepening the focus, that really getting into your integrity, really channeling your mission, really channeling into like what you're here to do, how you're here to serve, what you want to do, how you want to live. Like, get really focused on all of that stuff and lead with your heart, right? Really let your heart lead. Allow your heart space to expand. Allow your mind to be filled with like positive visions, like what's the best vision for your life, and then let your whole physicality basically merge with that energy so that you allow yourself to embody the energy. And then any bumps along the road, own and transform your density. That's the work, you know. It just, every time you feel an emotion that's like, yeah, just sit, just look at it, you know. And that's all. And that's part of like surrounding ourselves with people who kind of get it integrally, is that we then can reflect back one another's honesty and sit with our own stuff and not keep that pain body going, you know, not keep those patterned reactive patterns alive by feeding them into another. If we can all be kind of practicing that in our worlds, which is part of my own practice, to really surround myself with people who take responsibility for their own emotions, right? So being surrounded by that means everyone becomes your reflection, and then all parties are self-responsible, but all parties are yoking their transformation, their broader power, their deeper knowing, they're expanding into their wisdom state, right? Because we're essentially transforming those primitive or systematic patterns that really come from fight flight, that don't serve us anymore in any way ultimately. Like, maybe they served us as part of our own evolution for sure, and yet now we're like, oh, like there's all these things happening in the reality that's like pulling everything apart. And so we're, as beings, having to like come into that central channel. So May really is like the tunnel vision, really ramping up, really feeling momentum now, feeling much more connected into the heart space, and then in our environments, in our world, sort of allowing ourselves to gently and sort of easily reach out to sense where that next phase is taking us, right? Sense where that next phase of our journey, or that next level of our manifestation power, is going to lead us and take us, as we again have refined the focus to become as clear as possible. And then just kind of stay in that stream. And when we bump up against other, we really kind of enfold that connection, you know, enfold that dynamic. And that's really, again, why we want to stay connected to the intuition, because that is each time guiding us to our highest purpose. Oh my God, oh yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. That's Jenna Marbles, in case you guys don't know. I'm a big fan of Jenna Marbles. And I gotta say, like, the sunshine, I thought my face a little bit, because I've been sitting out in the sun and it is glorious, but it's kind of the first sun in a few months. And so, yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. I hope that was useful to you. I hope that you're feeling empowered and blissed out in this energy. And if you're not, just keep having faith and keep feeling into your feelings and honor all of it, and know that you have the power. Know that you have that connection inside of you, but no one really can do it for you. No one can really hook into that profound, deep knowing except for you. And then once you yoke it and kind of work with that inner knowing, eventually it will start to get easier and easier, and you'll really start to see and feel and sense how this whole kind of manifestation stuff works. It's profound and it's deep, and you know, it's so paradoxical in so many ways. And in that regard, especially when we're setting off in this spiritual awakening or this expansive journey, it can often feel counterintuitive, because it's like, don't face your fears, run away from them, because your fears are dangerous, you know. But we're living in a very different time, and so we're being given a divine license to really take a leap and break through and shed the weight, as it were, shed the weight of our past that divides us, that is conflicted from our own knowing and understanding of how to live and operate in harmony on this planet. Thank you, guys. I love you loads, and I hope I have a good day. I'll speak to you real soon. Peace, guys. Bye.